This video is sponsored by DistroKid. More on that later at the end of the video. Hear ye, hear ye. A new YouTube trend has been bestowed upon us from the gods. Medieval styled covers. Modern pop songs reimagined as if it was from the Middle Ages. Perfect to put on in the background while you grow crops for a king you didn't vote for. It does seem kind of fitting how in 2020 we're listening to music that would have been the soundtrack to the bubonic plague. If only you had listened to me 3 years ago! Some other names for medieval covers are tavern wave or bardcore, which are pretty amazing names. I also listened to some more traditional medieval styled music just to get the feel for it outside of the pop context. While modern day pop structures didn't exist in medieval times, it's the sounds from that time period that are being used. These being the flute or recorder, harp or lyre. You also had other woodwind instruments like the shawm, which kind of sounds like a flutier saxophone. I hear strings being used in some of these medieval covers, but you didn't have violins until the 16th century, which is technically after the Middle Ages. You did, however, have the viella, or the vielle, which is also a bowed instrument. That guy has a duck on his head. His shirt is a duck on his head. You didn't have guitars, but you had plenty of other alternatives like the lute. Here's a cool quote from Wikipedia. Other Plucked stringed instruments included the mandore, gittern, citole, psaltery, the dulcimires, similar in structure to the psaltery, and thither, were originally plucked, but musicians began to strike the dulcimires with hammers in the 14th century. Harpsichords wouldn't exist until the Baroque period, but were descendants of the
psaltery.
Psaltery. Oh, okay, that's how you say it. Thank you. What about percussion? I did hear what I thought was a tambourine. Upon further research, it turns out they had the predecessor of the tambourine called the timbrel. Doesn't it look kind of familiar?
What a beautiful face I have found in this.
Other mammal skin drums existed too, like the tabor or nakers. If you can get a library of these or similar sounding instruments, then just download a MIDI file from the internet and add those sounds to it, which makes this not too hard to do. At this point, pretty much every song you can think of has a medieval cover. I wanted to make one for Aqua's Barbie Girl, but even that was done already. I have no original thoughts. Of course, there are varying degrees of quality with the medieval covers. Some are just MIDI files with cheap sounding instruments added in. But then you have higher quality ones that will rewrite the song to make it even more fitting for the time period. A favorite of mine are the covers from Hildegard von Blingen, who will rewrite the lyrics, for instance swapping out the word your for the word thigh, or other medieval language, like how all the other kids with the pumped up kicks becomes all ye bully rooks with your buskin boots. That's cute. I like that. Hey, they didn't use the word thigh here. I like these musical changes that take an extra step beyond just doing exactly what the original song did. So we'll focus a bit on that. Let's take the intro to Hildegard's Bad Romance. Notice the main melody here, which is not just the melody from the original song. It has been slightly altered. Let's take the original melody line and compare it to the medieval version. Notice these little embellishments at the start of some notes. It plays the note, goes up or down very briefly, and then goes back to the note it was on. Here are some more examples of this. While this is a cool trick, I wouldn't go overboard with it. Not every song has it, and it's definitely not overused like this Nightmare version. but in general, the lead melodies do have a lot of life and movement to them. Plenty of strumming can be heard. This makes sense for stringed instruments played by hand, such as the lute or harp. To do this in FL Studio, have some chords ready and press Alt+S. You can change the speed of how fast you strum the chords, plus the tension, if you see what that's doing, and also velocity. Alternatively, arps are often used as the harmonic background for the melodies and vocals. Just take the chord of a progression and play each note individually. You can come up with rhythmic patterns to make it more interesting too if you want. You can press Alt+A to use this awesome arpeggiator device. On the topic of chords, they are mostly pure and simple major and minor chords, and coincidentally, a lot of pop songs are too. So you can just forget all that 5/1/7 chord theory from the last how-to I did. Just throw that in the trash. I think in most cases, the drums in these covers are just trying to be similar to the original songs. Like in the What Is Love cover, it has a 4-on-the-floor beat, but maybe you can use more traditional drum beats. If I can generalize the drums here, you often have a low drum sound on the first downbeat of each bar, with some higher drums afterwards, with the tambourine or timbral sound every 2 beats. Of course, not all of the beats are like that. Some have less low drums, and some have more tambourine sounds. I also like it when the tambourine does that jangly thing too. Ooh, sounds authentic. On a side note, a lot of these covers have tons of reverb on top of everything. I suppose they're trying to get that big reverb sound. That big hall reverb sound. You know, because castles have halls. So, like usual, I will play a song I made using all the techniques talked about in this video. But first, let me tell you about DistroKid. DistroKid is a distributor that allows you to put your music on big streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music, and literally tons of others, even TikTok. You can also add lyrics that sync up with your songs for streaming services that support the feature like Apple Music or Instagram. With DistroKid, you can upload as many songs or albums as you want. I've used DistroKid for about 3 years, and I've had good experience. They push the tracks out quickly and give you a lot of control on how you release your music. If you use my link in the description, you'll get a discount. Plus, I get some kickback from that as well, so you'll be helping me and the channel out too. Okay, it's song time. Now what song is there actually left to cover that hasn't been done before? Oh man, even Song for Denise has been done. Oh, I know. The one song no one else would dare touch. The holy grail of dubstep. The aptly named Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. Take it away, Bard. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you DistroKid for sponsoring it. And lastly, thank you to my Patreons for supporting me. You are the best. See you in the next one.